Okay, so let's go here. I'm gonna go back to slideshow. Okay, so you purchase your trial, you download your shapefile, you put it in your rate controller, you apply the fungicide, and then at the end of the season, you harvest. And so you have your as applied data and you have your yield data. And that's when you're ready to come in and run this analysis. So you hit the results and analysis button. Next, we need to upload the as applied data is the next step. I guess also there's sort of a summary of the trial up here that you could look at. And you can edit those as needed. So we upload the as applied data. And so first we confirm that this is not a planting trial. We then upload the as applied data. So you find the shapefile. You can find it you can put it in a zip or in the attachments that we need, the SHP, the DBF, and the SHX. Next, you have to match each of the properties that we need with the column names that are appropriate. So we need to know the as applied rate, swath width, distance, y offset, heading, etc. And with that, it will take the point data and turn it into polygons. And so then you see that it gets rendered. If it's already polygons, then we just need to know the as applied rate column. Okay. Now we can infer what the plot length and width is from the trial design step. And then we also, here's where you put in the amount of that you want to buffer off the ends of the plots. And so typically we would work with some if you had questions about it, but basically we want to buffer off the area where you're switching rates and also the area where we are, where your yield data, if it takes a while for it to go from like a high yielding area to a low yielding area, if that is a kind of a, normally that smooths out, it's not a discrete step. That's kind of where this buffer length is. And so you can set that here with 200-foot plots. Normally, if we're doing 200-foot plots, like a typical buffer length might be 25 feet. And then you also can buffer off the sides of the plots. It depends on the product that's being applied, whether that makes sense or not. In this case, it's in our fungicide trial, if you could apply right over the top of the canopy, then you maybe don't need to put a buffer in. But if you expect drift, then you would need to put a buffer in and make those plots a little wider. Okay, this is a place where you can now go and look, and you can look at all these replicates. You see the as applied data, and you can deactivate. If you can say, you know what, we made some mistakes on this part of the field, you can deactivate a couple of the replicates. Finally, we pull the application date. You can correct it if it's not right, or if you have to pick between a couple dates. The planting date, you can either enter it, or you can upload some your planting data, and then we will find the planting date for you. And then you finally have this place where you can review everything and hit save, and that gets your as applied data ready. Next, we go into the yield data. The yield data pretty much looks like the same, so I'm going to kind of rush through it. And then finally, there's configure analysis. And so in this part, we need to get the price of your grain or your product that you're selling. We also need the price of the input that we're testing. And then there's a place to, particularly if it's like a fertilizer trial, sometimes people have changed the rates from what the plan is to what you actually did in the field. This is a place to correct those. And then these are kind of some statistical, this is more like advanced settings. If you want to change from a two-sided yield difference to one, or you want to change your false positive rate, this is where you can do that. So if you're university, you can put 5%. If you're a grower, you may even put 20% or 10%. So that's there. Again, you can save that. And now finally, you're ready and you can hit request report. And so that's what gets you to where we will be. Then the trial gets, the report is generated. And then at least for right now, we have a human who looks at it. And as we get more confident about it, but we may remove that. But for now, it takes a little bit because a person is going to look at it before you get it back.